Are you ready to get your health back but feel overwhelmed by the endless healthcare options? We believe God has called each of us to a specific assignment, and we want to make sure your body, mind, and heart are up for the task. It's time to simplify the process of healing. At Cornerstone Integrative Healing, we offer simple, effective, easy ways to prioritize your health and gain understanding. No prescription pad needed. I'm Kari, a pharmacist turned integrative health practitioner. I'm so excited to have these conversations around topics with my friend, Jenn.
Hi there, I'm Jenn, and together with our team at Cornerstone Integrative Healing, we offer an alternative to traditional healthcare, combining our expertise and experience in the medical field with our knowledge and faith to break the cycles of guessing what's wrong. We know the road to healing, feeling good again, can be overwhelming. You can expect honest conversations around the ups and downs of healing. The truth is, there are so many layers to healing. Because we've taken the time to learn where true healing comes from, we've learned how to help other women discover a different way of caring for themselves. Join us every week for new episodes as we discuss topics that are personal and pertinent to your healing journey.
Hello, everyone. It's Kari here. I'm with Jenn. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm glad you're back for another episode, or maybe this is the first time you're joining us. If you are, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. So we have something maybe a little bit different today, but we're really excited to just start sharing a little bit more case studies from the people that we work with. And I think it'll be, I would personally love case studies. I love to see like what, the client presented with and what their main issue was and kind of the steps that we took and some of the root causes and obviously how they're doing afterwards. So we're excited to share that with you today. We're going to be talking about a client that had high blood pressure. That was her main issue that she came with. And she has actually had high blood pressure, hypertension ever since she was around 10. So it's a really unique thing. That's not really super common, but that was her case. That's what she presented with. And she also was diagnosed with anxiety and OCD around 8. So, she's been dealing with these things for quite a while. She is currently in her early 20s. And so, that is what she came to us with. She had actually went to another functional practice and kind of felt like she hit a wall with her blood pressure. That's obviously that's her main thing that she wanted to work on. It really affected her first pregnancy, and they would really like to have more kids. So that's just something that she was super focused on as far as just really getting to the root cause of it and seeing some change in that, whereas she hasn't before. Anything you might want to add to that, Jenn?
No, I think, she was very open to alternatives because obviously being on 4 blood pressure meds, anxiety meds, was concerning. And
Yeah.
she was just very open to, diving deeper and getting to root cause.
And I think it's important too. Those are obviously her main things, and that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on. But I would like to mention all of the symptoms that she checked on our intake form that we do that were an issue, because I think that would be helpful as we kind of go through this. So there was bloating, constipation, indigestion, heartburn, headaches, skin breakouts, obviously anxiety, mood swings, brain fog, fatigue. She got overwhelmed easily. Abdominal pain or cramping, sugar and sweet cravings, painful cycles, trouble falling or staying asleep, and then cold hands and feet. So those were just some of the individual symptoms that she put on her form. So, Jenn, knowing all of this, what steps did we take? What were the main things that we chose to focus on?
So when I first, this is in all vulnerability, when I first saw this case, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
Where do we start? What do we do? Because, we start with the basics, of course. And again, she has been a very compliant patient too. So
Yes,
I just want to say that.
she was very open. Those two things are super, she was committed to the process.
Yes.
Because she really wanted this.
Yes.
Not fixed, but she really wanted to get to the root cause of it and not keep,
right.
to keep coming back.
Right. The conventional story was manage the numbers, keep adding meds, instead of like asking, why is the body so dysregulated? Like, it's not normal
Right.
to need that many blood pressure meds before you're even
No.
25, 20,
Right. Like, it
before
was
you're
very
20.
unstable. Like, yes,
Right.
she had hypertension, but it wasn't like it was just with one med and it was stable. Like, it was very unstable.
Right. They weren't asking like, how do we lower the blood pressure? They were, you know, basically just managing the symptom.
Yeah.
So our key perspective was what is the body needing that it keeps elevating her blood pressure to compensate, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And the first thing that I always think about is, of course, stress. The body's in a constant fight or flight. So, what are the physical contributors that are putting her into fight or flight? So, this is what we found. Definitely a food sensitivity and wheat. Wheat sensitivities and high blood pressure are very much linked.
And anxiety.
And anxiety.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any foods that you notice that eat that you're anxious the
Mhm.
next day or later that night probably have a sensitivity to.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it like this, but tell them what you tell me, like, there's 3 ways that you could see, like, a food sensitivity manifest.
Yeah. So immediately, usually your heart rate will increase. So after you eat the foods, um, you notice that you have an increase in heart rate. And there's a test where you can literally just measure heart rate after eating. And if it goes up, there was probably something, in that meal that you were sensitive to. Heart rate is definitely something. And so there's timeline. So let me just back up because I feel like this is important.
Mm.
It's a little bit off topic, but I think food sensitivities. I was just reading a newsletter from a major functional health virtual practice, and they were talking about these. So, um, the immediate response, as I said, the heart rate going up. The other thing that you can notice is headache or sleepiness. So you have this like mild, dull headache that sort of changes. You might even see mood changes immediately. And then later on that night or even the next day, you may notice like red, burning, teary eyes. You may notice hives or rashes. You might notice nausea, cramping, even diarrhea. And then you might notice some restlessness or difficulty sleeping. Those are all kind of histamine response. Now, it could go as far as 2 to 7 days later, so up to a week later, you could have things like colored phlegm, increase inflammation in your mucous membranes, so your nose, your
Mm.
throat, skin itching and irritation, dryness like eczema, um, pain. It usually shows up as like achy joints, achy muscles, those sorts of things. So the most common, the top 4 are probably what you know, and they're wheat, corn, dairy, and soy. But the next common, which most people don't know about, are chocolate, peanuts, eggs, tomatoes, and beef. So ideally, what we want to do, is look at all of those. But wheat, coming back to high blood pressure, is very, very, very common with high blood pressure. You might also notice excessive sweating. You might have colitis-like symptoms or bowel
Yeah.
irregularity, as well as the high blood pressure. So, sorry, that was a little bit of a rabbit hole, but I felt like we needed to go down that.
Yeah, it's good. They
Yeah,
really do make a big difference.
right. So the food sensitivities cause inflammation in the gut. Okay, so remember, our gut and our immune system are very much linked. That is kind of the mainstay of our immune system is in our gut. So there's a link to increased high blood pressure and immune activation. It's very much a stressor. So what you eat absolutely affects your blood pressure. The next thing so we found that wheat for her. So we immediately took her off wheat, which she did beautifully. Immune burdens. We found both parasites and mold. These are chronic stresses on the body. It will also cause chronic activation of the nervous system and inflammation, which is huge. Her body was under constant internal stress. And so these needed to be addressed. And we really did notice, obviously the mold was hard because you have to get out of the environment, which she wasn't able to do immediately. I know they're still working on that piece, but parasite work, was definitely something that we could start fairly quickly, in which we did, including breaking biofilms. Remember, the biofilms are what cover and protect a lot of the bugs, whether it's parasites, bacteria, viruses, fungus, so that the antimicrobials or the immune system can't get to them. So breaking biofilms was definitely something that we focused on also. Let me back up just one more second. So we really encouraged her with all the foundations, right? I know we always talk about the foundations, but I just want to mention this. So we replaced her minerals. We used an electrolyte mix as well as supplements to increase minerals. That's one of the main things in a sequence with high blood pressure is addressing what we call metabolic acidosis. So when we lack minerals, we don't have the necessary components to combat that acidosis. And so it's very common in high blood pressure. So we did that along with managing stress and nervous system, right? Which was a little bit easier for her because she was a stay-at-home mom, but she was very open to everything that we gave her and did it, which was, just huge. So, along with those basics, balancing blood sugar, doing the circadian rhythm, all we of course did sequentially, address some of these physical burdens. And then we found that her thyroid was under functioning, so her metabolism was slowed. This does affect circulation. Now, there's also a piece of micro and macro circulation, but for her age, that did not come into play because she was so young. So as we age, our arteries become harder, right? They are especially the smaller arteries can get plaqued up. That's, statistically, that's why most of us will die either from stroke or heart disease, statistically, right? Because as we age, those vascular changes, but for her, that did not come into play. So we did address her thyroid underperforming, supporting with minerals, which was major, supporting the stress response. And then her liver was also needing detox support. It was very, very sluggish. Okay, so couple things here. When the liver is backed up, that function will spill over into the kidney, right? So what happens is two things. Now the liver and the kidney are struggling, and you start waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. She was up 4 to 5 times a night to pee. That is not normal. I know a lot of people come in to see us and they will say, well, I get up to go to the bathroom. That's just normal, especially as you age. It's not normal. I'm 50. I never get up to use the bathroom. I can drink 2 big glasses of water before I go to bed and still not get up to use the bathroom. So that it was my number one sign that her liver and kidney were overloaded, and that will affect blood pressure. Portal hypertension is definitely a thing, which I think for her case was a big piece of it.
Excuse me. And biofilms definitely are a thing with the kidneys too. So that kind of makes sense with what we found immune-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had to support her body's ability to process toxins and to support those pathways, which was huge. So, basically what we did was we gave her the foundations, trying to take as much stress off the body as possible just with blood sugar, supporting the minerals to support that metabolic acidosis, getting her off food sensitivities, huge, decreasing inflammation in the gut, reducing cortisol, right, through stress management, nervous system regulation, reducing toxic burden, so helping the liver and the kidney work better. Reducing, mold exposure, handling the parasites, addressing general nutrient depletion that we found in testing also. Which all of this leads to so much stress on the body that once we start to, and again, we layered this piece by piece, right? We didn't do it all at once. What happens is the nervous system comes back into regulation. The body's not in her constant fight or flight. Her body was starting to adapt and starting to detox and take in the minerals and the nutrients and do what it was supposed to do. Which was, just a really big piece. I don't think people understand how important that these stressors are to the body. Not having enough minerals is a stressor in and of itself for blood pressure. It's
Yeah.
huge. Mineral deficiency and metabolic acidosis is one of the foundations for blood pressure. I know even, dietitians will tell you, you need to increase potassium, you need to increase magnesium. These are some foods that
Yeah.
will help you do that. Decrease sodium. Um, so we did not decrease sodium per se, but we did balance the other minerals. So
We definitely went slower
right.
for
Oh yes.
sure with
Yeah.
that.
Not
I just
normally,
wanna
but
make that known.
yes.
Not that her body didn't need I mean, obviously her body did need sodium, but especially for someone like that, you have to take it slower, and we definitely did do that.
Yeah. Sealing up the gut lining, using glutamine and enzymes and, other things to long term make sure she wasn't reacting to everything that she was eating,
Right.
which was, I think sometimes we underestimate sort of
Mhm.
how important that immune activation is in the
Yeah,
gut.
for sure.
So, do you want to just talk about where the proof is in the pudding? How
Yeah, for
she's
sure.
at
So
now?
how is she doing now? And I do I think it's important for timeline's sake. I was just looking back, of course, at all this, and she actually started seeing us almost a year ago to the date. So she's been seeing us for a year. Definitely, obviously this has happened slowly, right? She's off two of the four high blood pressure meds that she was on, obviously with the instruction of her doctor. She was able to stop her anxiety meds as well, with the
Huge one.
instruction of her doctor. And she's only up to use the restroom like once a night, every couple times a week. So that is a vast improvement. And, all of these things, right? She's still continuing to heal. But we truly feel, and she does as well, of course, that we're getting to the root of the issue. And that does take time. So I just really wanted to give you a realistic picture of, she's been working with us pretty much monthly for a year. So sometimes it takes that long, especially for something that's been going on since she was a child. But yes, just she's thrilled, truly. Like she's just so happy. And I will say too, just a few things to mention on her. She went through a really rough time late last year. Lots of stress, lots of just, her nervous system was really on edge, and she worked through it. We were in prayer for her. We gave her some tools to use, and I think that really helped to strengthen her. Just to know, like, things are going to happen, but here are some tools that I have. So I was really thankful we were able to walk through that with her. That was a blessing. And when she first came to us and through talking to her, like we've discussed, like we know that she has some emotional components to this. And of course we've encouraged her to, journal and things like that. But I truly believe that like sometimes the body's just not ready to process some things from childhood until you really support the physical. And so I think she's definitely a testament to that. So of course there are so many layers to healing, but we had to work on the physical first.
Yeah. And what this means is that everything's connected. The body is always connected. Emotional, physical,
Yeah.
blood pressure isn't really just related to the heart, or just kidney. Like there's everything.
Genetics also, I'm
Yes.
sure, she was
Yeah.
told obviously she had it at such a young age, right?
Right.
Not that it doesn't
Um,
play any component, but that's not the main component.
And I just want to it's important to say that not everybody has the same root causes. So
No,
you
no,
could have high
no.
blood pressure and your root causes could be totally different.
Yes.
That's why when people come to us and they've already had a quote unquote a diagnosis, that doesn't mean the same protocol for everybody.
No.
That means that we fix what we find,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
How is the body showing up? Where does it need support? So it doesn't matter how it manifests in you versus me. We're looking at each individual and where they're needing support.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not a quick fix. Meds are
No.
still needed. I want to be very,
Yeah.
especially with blood pressure, you don't want to mess around with that. That's not something that you want to leave to chance. It's very serious, and you do need medical intervention for high blood pressure.
Yeah,
But if
definitely.
there's two simple things that you can sort of take away is don't ignore the gut symptoms. Don't ignore the nervous system symptoms. So if you're overwhelmed a lot, because sometimes it doesn't always gut reacting or a gut activation doesn't always show up in the gut. It shows up in the nervous system. Even
Right.
though the reaction is on the gut, it shows up in the nervous system, depending. I'm not going to get into the details, but some people will tell us, well, I don't react to gluten, but
Right.
we'll do a GI map and their anti-gliadin antibody is very high. It's because it manifests via nervous
Yeah.
system.
Right.
Like you can't see your nerves demyelinating, right?
Right.
It's just that the digestive symptoms are much easier to see. Pay
Yeah.
attention to food reactions. Really support your minerals, hydration. And if you're waking up at night, that's a huge sign.
Yeah, for sure. And one more thing that I'll mention before we hop off is that, this was a process. She stayed in constant communication with us. Hey, this popped up. What should I do? We had
Right.
to add another supplement when she, is weaning off one of her meds.
Right.
It's okay, right?
Right.
That's just your body telling you what support it might need. It's not a negative thing. It's important to stay in contact with your provider to give them updates and things so that they can swap things around. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. But I hope you enjoyed these. We're going to start doing these more, just because I think it's super cool. I just love to, and I think others like that too, right? I hope you've learned something that maybe you can take away also to just kind of learn more about how the body works. It's absolutely amazing, right? Your body is made to heal. And so everything that it's telling you is for a reason. So hopefully this helps you to see that a little more. But glad that you joined us today. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
If this episode has served you in any way, drop a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd love it if you'd share any aha moments or takeaways on Instagram and tag us at Cornerstone Integrative Healing.
And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so. We want to continue to walk this journey with you. Until next time, friends, know that we are praying for you.